Hello, Wolfpack. Yesterday we said that there was a glimpse of bullishness coming back into the market, and today we have started to rally. All right, we closed the daily candle here on the previous day, right, on the red day at around 46,700, just above, or just below actually, the 200-day SMA, but not below it enough to say we didn't hold the support, right? It held the support, and as we usually see when we close a candle right on top, we bounce, okay? And we bounced quite strongly, and we moved up all the way to around a 48,300 close, so about 1,500, 1,600 or 700 up from the last daily candle. And this daily candle so far, it's been open for about 30 minutes. By the time this gets out, it'll be open for about an hour or maybe more. Has been moving quite well. Okay, we've moved up a substantial amount. And the reason being is not only because of this bounce, but because there are actual bullish indicators now, which there weren't before. Okay, there weren't any signs of a reversal at all in this entire drop up until this point. Literally no signs. We have not made one singular higher high, and we're yet to do that as well, which is one of the reasons why I'm saying right now is not the best time to buy back, because it still isn't a confirmation for a breakout at all. Okay, we actually haven't done anything yet. We've consistently made lower highs throughout this entire move, and lower lows, by the way. As soon as we get up and start making a higher high, that might be a good sign. But right now, nothing's really happened. Okay, we have a bullish MACD cross on the verge of occurring. If we do see a strong green daily candle today, that will be occurring. That would be a great sign for the bulls, and that would likely send us to make a higher high and possibly flip this entire region here that I've just drawn over. I'll make my pen pink so you guys can see it a bit clearer. Wait 1 second, sorry. If we flip this entire region here, this downside region, we might actually see something similar to what we saw in September, right, where we have this bottoming out pattern. But as of right now, nothing has happened, right? We're simply still in a downwards trend, but there are bullish signs, so that it is worth noticing, right? Not only do we have that MACD cross incoming shortly, we also have on the daily candle, on the daily chart, a bullish divergence, a very clear bullish divergence that is playing out right now, where the RSI is heading upwards on the lows and the price is heading downwards on the lows. That is a bullish divergence, and that means that essentially the bottom is near and the bottom will come. Okay, it doesn't mean that, okay, well, we're going to all-time highs now because we've got a bullish divergence. No. It could just be a sign of a small relief rally. And also, it's worth noticing that bullish divergences don't mean that the bounce is going to happen immediately, right? Sometimes they actually take a while to play out, and sometimes they don't play out at all, right? Just for reference here, that we had a bullish divergence all the way up here back on the 18th of November, right, through to the 20th, or what, through to the 22nd of November, right? We had a bullish divergence. Quite clearly, we were making lower lows, and we made a higher low, on the RSI. That is a bullish divergence, and we still just continued to drop down, right? We dropped down from 57k, and we all went all the way down here to 42, okay? So a bullish divergence by itself doesn't necessarily mean that a move is coming, right? But I mean, conjoining it or lining it up with the facts that we have recently bounced for 200 as well, it does suggest that we will be seeing some upwards momentum, especially due to the fact as well because we have, downtrended for so long on the Bollinger Bands. We've on the downside of the Bollinger Bands for about a month and a half now, almost. We're coming up on a month and a half, right? And just over a month currently. So that's a long time, right? We don't usually see that. Right now we're in a bit of an abnormal position. The RSI is reset to levels we haven't seen since May. Right, the MACD's come down to May levels as well. So it's pretty clear that a bounce is on the way. But I still would say that, just because it's a bounce is on the way, it doesn't mean it's going to come immediately. And just because a bounce is on the way, it doesn't mean we're not going to go to 42k first or 43k first. And just because a bounce is on the way, it doesn't mean right now is the best time to buy back in the market, right? And again, I'll use the same phrase again. Just because the bounce is on the way, it doesn't mean that bounce is actually going to take us to where we need to go, right? Because I can tell you right now, and what I've said from this entire correction, 61k is what I'm looking at. I sound like a broken record. 61k is what I'm looking at for a full confirmation of a renewed upwards trend in which we make all-time highs. That would flip this entire downwards construction. If we flip this 61k, it would get us back into this above range over here, right? 61k is a very, very critical point. If you want it to be more aggressive, as I say, you would be waiting for at least a flip of this yellow line, right? This yellow uptrending level of support that is held, as you can see if I zoom out, this yellow line, keep an eye on it, that is held, and we'll remove all of these indicators so you can get a better point of view here. The yellow line is held in July, in September, and it acted as resistance, right here about a few days ago or a week ago, right? We rejected off of it and we headed further down. That yellow line is absolutely critical, and not just because it's a yellow line, okay? We're also looking at that yellow line because if we go to the weekly chart, we can see the yellow line that I can actually draw in here. I'll draw it in so you guys can see it. We haven't got it because we're on the logarithmic chart. Let's draw in the yellow line here. All right, let's draw it in from the July bottom or something like that, right? Essentially, that yellow line, sorry, it's a little bit more at around 53k region. Who cares? You get the point, okay? That yellow line is also acting in conjunction with the bull market support band, okay? If we just bring up the bull market support band on the daily chart, it will be much easier for you guys to see. Let's remove the Bollinger Bands quickly and bring up the bull market support band. You can see that, you know, the bull market support band is lurking in the same region as that yellow line. So flipping that yellow line would not only flip the yellow line, the uptrending level of support, and regain an upwards trend, it would also flip the 200-day EMA, and it would also flip the bull market support band, which is basically the most critical support zone and resistance zone you're going to get in TA, right? If the bull market support band literally, you know, it's its name. It identifies whether Bitcoin or whether any asset is in a bull market or in a bear market, okay? And right now, technically, we're in a bear market, right? And I don't want you guys to get confused with the idea that every bear market needs to last 3 years. Not the case at all, right? Bear markets can last as long or as short as they need to last, okay? You know, it's literally just called a bear market. It doesn't mean that it's a 3-year thing, right? A bearish phase in the market would be a different way to say it. Let's go to the weekly chart here. Let's actually bring it back to how it was before. Nice. And what we can see here, if we're trying to really identify the bottom, the chances are that the bottom would be in currently. And that doesn't mean the bottom would be in for this entire move, but the bottom would be in before a bounce, okay? Because what we can see is this red line here, the 50-week SMA, is a very, very important line. The 50-week SMA typically gives Bitcoin room for a bounce in every scenario, okay? So we can see every time we've tested it this year, we've bounced, and we haven't bounced yet, but it looks like we might do that, okay? But that doesn't mean we can't wick below it. If we do close below it, and I said this in the last video, if we do close a weekly candle below the 50-week SMA, which is in 5 days, okay? That would be, according to the historical trends, according to 12 years of price action, that would be an indication that the bull market is well and truly over and we will enter a downwards trend. Whenever we close a weekly candle below the 50-week SMA, and substantially below, I don't mean like this in July, I mean substantially below the 50-week SMA, I'm talking like 500 USD, 1000 USD, below the 50-week SMA, we historically have always trended downwards to the green line here, which is for 200, in about a year. Okay, so if we closed below it, the logical thing to assume would be Bitcoin would do something like this. It would trend downwards for about a year, November next year, and we bottom out here at around, what, 25k, something like that, right? It's hard to say where exactly it'd be because we just can't predict that. But you know, the point is it would trend downwards and bottom out in about a year's time on the 200-week SMA, wherever that would be at the time. And so we really are in a critical position right now, and this is why I'm not too keen to buy back, because yes, we have signs of bottoming out, right? We have signs that we may be bottoming out, you know, volumes going a bit, rising a little bit. We are still in a downward trend, so that's actually a bearish thing, but volumes rising, bounce off a 200-day, bullish divergence, fear greed index, whatever you want to say. You know, there are arguments that the bottom is in, or, you know, is soon or is shortly going to be in, and the 50-week SMA obviously is, you know, typically leads to a bounce. But the point is, if we do close below this 50-week, which, by the way, is only at 47,700, literally, you know, 700 USD away, it's nothing. It's very, very close. If we close below that on the weekly chart by a substantial amount, that's, you know, that's confirmation of a bear market. You know, regardless of what bullish chart you want to look at, that's bear market confirmation. All right, we don't just close below that and then nothing happens. We drop every time. I can show you. You know, so look. The point is, 5 days. Can I wait 5 days? Yes, I can. Look, my ultimate buy-in targets, as I've said before, is this yellow line flipping for support. I'll buy back a little bit. 61k, I'll buy back fully. Okay. If we drop below this 50-week SMA on the weekly candle, that's an indication that we shouldn't be buying back anything. We should actually be waiting for a longer period of time until we can buy back much, much, much lower. All right. There simply isn't enough sign of bullishness in the market right now. We can go to the 4-hourly chart. And we can see that all the bulls seem to be getting hyped up about a small price movement. I mean, look at the 4-hourly chart. This is just a short-term chart. This price movement's nothing. We're back to levels we were at 2 days ago, right? And at these levels 2 days ago, everyone was bearish. If you spoke to someone about 48k a month ago, you know, God forbid, when we were at 63, 66k, everyone would say that would be a bear market. And now all of a sudden, when we hear it's a bull market, you know, I think that people just aren't sticking to what they said. Okay, the fact of the matter is that whether you want to think it's a bear market or a bull market right now, the point is the market is in extremely critical position. This 50-week SMA is very important, especially considering we're below the bull market support band. Okay, because typically being below the bull market support band, and not only being below it but rejecting from it on a wick, right? That is a terrible sign. Okay, every time that's happened, most times that's happened at least. It means that the market's going down, right? We rejected from it from a wick here. I mean, that was the COVID crash, so I guess you couldn't really count it. But I mean, this is a prime example, okay? So what happened is we dropped below the bull market support band, okay? We rejected from it from a wick. We held it with the 50-week SMA. We bounced off the 50-week, went back above briefly, but ultimately failed to make new highs, and we dropped down massively. That's a great example. Let's go to 2018 and give you another example, okay? I could just do this all day. 2018, here we go. We dropped below the bull market support band, came back up, right? Rejected from it, came down, held the 50-week for support, bounced up, were unable to make new all-time highs, and then just rejected and slowly bottomed out on the 200-week SMA. Right? 2013, same thing happened. Let's go to the 2013. 2013. Okay, so we made all-time highs. We dropped below the market support band, came up, rejected it with a wick, held the 50-week for support, bounced up above, failed to make new all-time highs, though, so it didn't matter, and then we trended downwards to the 200-week SMA. The point is, doesn't really matter what the daily chart, the 4-hourly chart, whatever is showing us. The point is the weekly chart is what looks very, very concerning right now. I would be waiting 5 days. 5 days is not a long time to wait if you're talking about a massive amount of money you're putting on the line here. Wait 5 days, wait to see what happens with the 50-week SMA. If we hold it for support, we see a strong green candle this week, get back above the bull market support band, which is at 52K, and in effect flipping the yellow line of support here as well, of a yellow line of resistance. That would be a great, re-entry zone for me personally, and I'll definitely be making videos to keep you updated on what I'm doing, but right now it's just simply too risky, right? Especially considering even on the 4-hourly chart, even in the very short term, we haven't even made a higher high yet. We're still trending downwards, right? This white dotted line, we need to break that resistance, and just below that is the Ichimoku cloud, which is acting as resistance. So there's quite a lot of resistance still, and I think people are getting bullish way too soon here. Let's look at the Bitcoin dominance, okay? And this is interesting as well, because I have said previously that we may be seeing an altcoin season. I think that's unlikely now, right? And the reason why I think that's unlikely is because Bitcoin dominance has triple bottomed, okay? It's triple bottomed on a major support zone at around 40%, right? To 40% to 39%. When you see a double bottom, typically it means something's going to go up. But when you see a triple bottom, that's a pretty damn sure sign that something's going to go up, right? And what that means is two separate things. It could mean that we enter a bear market, in which case Bitcoin dominance will trend upwards with time because people will rush into Bitcoin for safety, right? Or it could mean that a renewed rally is coming. And if a renewed rally is coming that takes Bitcoin to all-time highs, that means that, Bitcoin dominance will trend upwards for a period of time, right? When we see rallies, for example, October, where Bitcoin went crazy and altcoins didn't do much, Bitcoin dominance rose, right? And then throughout this entire correction, it's dropped, okay? And then when we see an altcoin season, like we saw in May, look at the drop in Bitcoin dominance, right? So look, I think that the most likely scenarios now, and I'll make a video on this, separately, possibly today or tomorrow. I don't think an altcoin season is likely anymore. I think that, I never really thought it was likely. I just thought it was a possibility. But I think that what the two possible scenarios right now in the market, the only two scenarios, and it sounds like a bit like, it's going to go up or down, but it's not like that at all. Actually, I'm actually discounting a very important thing, which is the fact that I don't think an altcoin season is going to happen. It's very important to say. I think that the two likely scenarios right now are either Bitcoin enters a bear market or Bitcoin goes into a bull market again. I'm not talking about altcoins. I'm talking about Bitcoin rallying massively. Altcoins not really doing much for now, right? Or Bitcoin drops down, everything crashes. Those are the two scenarios. I'm not looking at Ethereum outperforming Bitcoin anymore. I'm not looking at an altcoin season. I think Ethereum's kind of ruined its breakout. As I said, I'll do a video on that shortly. I don't really think an altcoin season is very likely anymore. Obviously, this can change within a matter of, a week, like it's already done. But that's the current state of the market for me. Just to summarize the video, basically, it's good to see some sign of bullishness coming back to the market, as suggested in my last video. But as of right now when I'm making this video, it's way too early to say whether this is actually going to materialize into anything, because right now the trend is still very much downwards. Nothing has been broken. Nothing has been unconfirmed. Would I say it's possible? Yeah, for sure it's possible. In fact, it's probably pretty likely, right? I'd say there's probably a 30% chance we go upwards from here. But essentially, on a weekly scale, it's probably 50-50, right? That's what I'm saying. It's very uncertain right now because when we go to the 50 week, even if we drop below it, we usually bounce. So I would expect to bounce. I would expect to bounce here, but I'm not going to bet on it happening. There's no point, right? I wait 5 days and see what happens. That's what I'm looking at for the market, guys. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one.